The year is 2006. The New Orleans Saints were about to take a flyer on a wide receiver who would become a legend amongst fans very quickly. The NFL's most forgotten about star. With the 252nd pick in the 2006 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Marcus Colston.
Line covered by Ralph Brown. Bush in the backfield. Breeze looks toward Colston, throws, catches made at the 5. Yes. He's in for the touchdown. They got the mismatch they wanted, and it results in a 12-yard touchdown strike to number 12, Marcus Colston.
Picture this. There's a new quarterback and head coach walking into town. The team is coming off of a horrendous 2005 season that saw their offense as second worst in scoring, and the Saints just snagged the steal of the draft. Before we dive into one of the most overlooked careers ever, let's rewind a little bit and look at Colston's time in college. Back in college, Colston was lighting up the football field at Hofstra University, an FCS school that no longer has a football program. But that's besides the point. Colston appeared in 40 games for Hofstra, starting in 37 of them. And during these 40 games, Colston would go on to break the school record for total receiving yards with 2,834. However, this would result in one of the earliest factors in Colston's lack of notoriety. He chose Hofstra over Missouri. According to Colston himself, he preferred Hofstra over taking his talents to the Big 12 because he wanted to learn and grow at his own pace. This would prove effective for his development, but not his status as a notable prospect. Due to his status as a prospect from a smaller school, Colston received very little hype headed into the NFL draft. Colston would be drafted with the 252nd pick in the 2006 NFL draft, meaning that he had to fight for his life to make the final 53. During rookie minicamp, Colston entered what he described as survival mode in an attempt to prove he belonged on the roster. Colston struggled to make an impact, leading to himself questioning if he even belonged in the NFL. However, when it came time for preseason camp, several weeks later, Colston was a different player. This shifted the conversation from should Colston make the roster to how high does he sit on the depth chart. Colston made such a positive impression on the Saints coaching staff that the team would end up trading late in the preseason to help his case for a roster spot. Wide receiver Dante Stallworth, who was coming off a 945-yard and 7-touchdown season, was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Stallworth was only 25 at the time, which is a testament to just how much the Saints believed in Colston. Moving into his NFL career, Colston took the league by storm right away. He played in 14 games, started in 12, and put up an incredibly impressive stat line. He finished his rookie season with a then-team record 1,038 receiving yards, as well as 70 receptions and 8 touchdowns. This would result in Colston finishing second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting behind Vince Young, but more on that later. During his sophomore season in 2007, Colston really took his game to another level. He racked up 1,200 yards on 98 catches, as well as a then-team record 11 receiving touchdowns. In 2009, he finished the regular season with 70 receptions, 1,074 yards, and 9 touchdowns, resembling that of his rookie season. This would mark the first year of his career in which he made serious contributions in the playoffs, starting in the divisional round against the Arizona Cardinals. He posted 6 receptions for 83 yards, as well as his first postseason touchdown. The following week, the Saints took on the Vikings in the NFC Championship. Colston's impact was limited as he was held to only 2 catches for 22 yards. This ultimately would not matter as the Saints won the game and were about to head to the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. Against the Colts, Colston racked up a respectable 7 catches for 83 yards en route to becoming a Super Bowl champion. In 2010, he put together another solid season with 84 catches, 1,023 yards, and 7 touchdowns in 15 games played. The Saints were able to make the playoffs once again, but fell short against the Seahawks in the wild card, where Colston posted 4 catches for 66 yards. In 2011, Colston continued his reign as Drew Brees' favorite target. He caught 80 passes for 1,143 yards and 8 touchdowns. This year was significant, as Colston would surpass Saints legend Joe Horn in 1,000-yard seasons, breaking a team record. He did this while putting up 4 100-plus yard games and 3 multiple touchdown games. This season also marked his biggest postseason contribution up to this point. Against the 49ers, Colston would catch 9 passes for 136 yards and a touchdown in a loss to the 49ers. Additionally, Colston was a major factor in Drew Brees setting the single-season passing yard record, which has since been broken. In 2012, he signed a 5-year, $40 million contract extension, which proved to be a great decision by the Saints right away. Colston continued his trend of consistent 1,000-yard seasons by racking up 1,154 yards and 10 touchdowns on 83 receptions. However, the Saints only managed to win 7 games due to the suspension of head coach Sean Payton over the Bounty Gate scandal. The Saints would bounce back in 2013, improving to 11-5 and winning a playoff game. However, this marked the beginning of the end for Colston, as he started to get outproduced by his teammates. That being said, he still posted 75 receptions for 943 yards and 5 touchdowns. In 2014, the Saints would miss the playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. Colston's decline also continued, but he still managed to put up 59 receptions for 902 yards and 5 touchdowns. 2015 was Colston's final season with the Saints. He posted 45 catches for 520 yards and 4 touchdowns, all of which were career lows. This can be attributed to the fact that Brandon Cooks and Willie Snead were rising stars for the Saints, and Colston was reaching the tipping point for regression at 32 years of age. Colston was released by the Saints after the 2015 season, marking the end of his dominant partnership with Drew Brees. A fun fact for you guys: although Colston never played on an NFL team past 2015, he did not formally acknowledge or announce his retirement until 2020. Looking at the consistency he's shown throughout his career, you start to wonder why Colston's name isn't brought up when discussing the best wide receivers of the late 2000s and early 2010s. One reason for this is the fact that he's never made a Pro Bowl. Let's take a look at the best 3 seasons statistically so I can prove to you that the NFL ruined his legacy and popularity amongst fans. Up on the screen right now are the wide receivers who were selected to the 2007 Pro Bowl for the NFC. Upon first glance, names like Terrell Owens, Larry Fitzgerald, Donald Driver, and Torrey Holt all stand out as Pro Bowl caliber players. Upon closer inspection, T.O. and Larry Fitz were 100% better than Colston that season. However, Colston surpassed Driver and Holt in every statistical category for that season. There is no reason why Colston should have been left off the NFC's Pro Bowl roster. Moving to 2011 Pro Bowl, we have Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Smith, Roddy White, as well as the almighty
Greg Jennings,
who notably put the team on his back. Ironically, Greg Jennings is the only player from this group that had no place in the Pro Bowl over Colston. Colston beat out Jennings in every statistical category outside of touchdowns, in which Jennings had one more. With all due respect to the Madden legend, he had no place over Colston this year. And last but certainly not least, let's take a look at the 2012 NFC Pro Bowl roster. We have notable names in Calvin Johnson, Brandon Marshall, Vincent Jackson, Julio Jones, Larry Fitzgerald, and Victor Cruz. Getting the players who deserve the nod over Colston, no argument can be made against Megatron, Brandon Marshall, and Vincent Jackson. However, beyond that, Colston has an argument over each other receiver listed. Looking at Jones and Cruz, they had similar stat lines to Colston. That being said, there should be no world where Larry Fitzgerald should have made it over Colston this season. Colston caught 12 more passes for 356 yards and 6 touchdowns more than Fitzgerald. Now you're probably thinking, it's the Pro Bowl, who cares? And while you may have a point, the entire point this video is based on is the forgotten star. It's common knowledge that the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest and has been for some time at this point, as every year fans get to vote on who makes it. Despite his consistency and dominance at the wide receiver position, He simply lacked the flash and pizzazz of the bigger names to draw votes from fans outside of New Orleans. As I alluded to earlier in the video, he was robbed of the 2006 Offensive Rookie of the Year. This award is voted on by the members of the Associated Press, which is one major news outlet from each state in the United States. 3 votes went to his teammate Reggie Bush. 6 votes go to left tackle Marcus McNeil. 9 votes go to Maurice Jones-Drew. 9 votes go to Marcus Colston. And 23 votes go to the winner, Vince Young. Now, let's compare the statistics. Vince Young went 184 for 357 completions, barely over 50% completion percentage, 2,199 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 83 rushes for 552 yards, 7 touchdowns, 12 fumbles, and 8 fumbles lost. Marcus Colston, 70 receptions, 1,038 yards, 8 touchdowns, no fumbles. Overall, Vince Young put up a total of 19 touchdowns and 21 turnovers, and still walked away with this award because the voting system is in favor of QBs, despite what the numbers say. Looking back on Colston's career in retrospect, he truly went unappreciated by those who weren't watching the New Orleans Saints week in and week out. However, for us Saints fans who got to appreciate his consistency and fantastic partnership with Drew Brees, we're in the loop. Colston retired as the franchise leader in receiving yards, yards from scrimmage, receiving touchdowns, total touchdowns, and receptions. He was inducted into the Saints Hall of Fame alongside his teammate and 2006 draft classmate Reggie Bush. His 10-year tenure with the Saints is by far and away the single most underrated career by any wide receiver of the last 20 years, and possibly in NFL history. Despite his lack of popularity, real ones know the legend that was Marcus Colston.
Gonna throw to Colston, back shoulder throw, touchdown Saints! Marcus Colston going up and taking the football away from DeMontre Hurst for his 4th touchdown reach at the goal line, and it's Colston again, touchdown! There's Marcus Colston, and Colston scores!